Welcome back to On the Verge YouTube channel. Today we're going to cover a topic that affects individuals, organisations and society as a whole, and that is lying about one's criminal lived experience. Trust me, there's a lot of people out there that do it and don't realise the harm that they're causing. Now, this is not just about personal choices, it's about trust, integrity, and the consequences that ripple through relationships, workplaces and even public safety. So we're going to break this down over the next 20 to 30 minutes, exploring the impact on personal relationships, children, young adults, organisations and society at large. We'll also discuss the real life examples, as I always do, and analysis why people feel the need to lie about their past, and explore what honesty can bring instead. So first part is trust and relationships. Right, so let's start with something fundamental, and that's trust. Trust is it's the foundation of every meaningful relationship we have, whether it's with family, friends, colleagues, or the wider community. It's what allows people to feel secure, respected and valued. But trust isn't just given, it's earned, often through honesty, reliability and integrity. Now, what happens when someone lies about something as serious as a criminal past? That trust can be shattered and sometimes irreparable. Then we have personal relationships. Now, I want you to imagine this. You're in a close friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a long-term partnership with someone you deeply care about. Over time, you believe you know them, their values, their history, their struggles. Then one day, you find out they weren't honest about a major part of their past. Maybe they concealed a conviction, downplayed a significant legal issue, or led you to believe they had a different background altogether. How would that make you feel? I'm guessing for most people, the emotions range from disappointment to betrayal. Even if the person has reformed and moved forward in life, the fact that they chose deception over honesty creates doubt. Suddenly you start questioning everything, like what else have they lied about? Can I trust their version of past events? Were they ever truly honest with me? And may even question, do you love them and do you care about them because of the lie? This breach of trust can cause deep emotional wounds, and in many cases can lead to the breakdown of relationships. It's not just about the criminal past itself, it's about the dishonesty surrounding it. Many people are willing to accept someone's past if they've shown growth and accountability, but when that past is hidden or misrepresented, it undermines the very foundation of trust. Next, we have professional and organisational trust. So let's take this into a professional setting. So trust is just as critical in a workplace as it is in personal relationships. So organisations rely on transparency, accountability, ethical behaviour, to maintain credibility with employees, clients and the public. And so imagine a company hires someone for a position of trust, a teacher, social worker, financial advisor, or even a CEO, without knowing they had a serious criminal record. If that information later comes to light, the impact can be devastating. As an example, employees feel deceived, questioning whether a leadership truly values honesty. Clients and customers may lose confidence, withdrawing business or even support. The organisation's reputation takes a hit, leading to financial losses and public scrutiny. Now, some some of the most high-profile scandals in politics, business, and entertainment have involved in individuals who misrepresented their past, shall we say. Politicians who have lied about their criminal history, executives who have falsified credentials, and celebrities who fabricated elements of their life stories time and time again. we we see that when the truth eventually comes out, the fallout is severe. Careers are ruined, reputations are destroyed, and organisations that once placed their trust in these individuals are left to clean up the mess. You'll often hear the saying that the truth always comes out. History has shown us that the truth often finds its way to the surface, no matter how deeply it's buried. And when it does, the consequences of deception are almost always far worse than if honesty had been embraced from the start. So, what's the better path? Transparency. While revealing the criminal past can be difficult, choosing honesty from the beginning can prevent greater harm, build stronger relationships, and foster genuine trust. Because at the end of the day, trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. Now we'll move on to the second section, which is impact on children and young adults. Now, let's talk about something even more crucial. Let's talk about the impact on these lies on young minds. Children and young adults are highly impressionable. They absorb what they see and hear, often without questioning it, and they look up to the adults as role models. Whether you're a parent, teacher, mentor, coach, or even a community leader, the way that you present yourself matters more. It matters more than you think. Um, when an adult misrepresents their criminal history, whether by downplaying it, fabricating parts of it, or omitting key details, they send a message that honesty is flexible, something that can be shaped to fit personal convenience. This message is dangerous. Young people are in the process of forming their moral compass, and when they see dishonesty rewarded or accepted, it it shapes their own understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Now let's consider a scenario. Imagine a teenager who deeply admires someone, maybe a mentor, a motivational speaker, social media influencer, or even a family member. The person has built their public identity on a compelling story about overcoming hardship, turning their life around, and making a positive impact. The teen is obviously inspired by this. They think if they could rise above their past, then so can I. But then the truth comes out. The story wasn't entirely real. Key details were exaggerated or completely fabricated to make the person seem more heroic, more resilient, or more relatable. And trust me, I know a few people like this. I can assure you. The teenager is left feeling betrayed and confused. Why would someone they admire lie? But even more concerning is the subconscious lesson learned that lying can be a tool for success. Over time, this belief can take root. A young person who sees dishonesty justified in one situation may start applying that principle to their own life. They might begin embellishing stories to gain social approval, exaggerating achievements to impress others, or even lying on school applications and job resumes. What starts as small, seemingly harmless deception can really escalate. Let me give you an example. Imagine a young adult applying for leadership position at school. They see that others have exaggerated their experiences to make themselves look more qualified. They think, why shouldn't I do the same? Everyone else is doing it. And they stretch the truth. Maybe they claim to have led a project they were barely involved in. Maybe they say they volunteered for an organisation they only attended once. And then they get the position, and instead of feeling guilty, they feel validated. Um, the deception worked. This is how dishonesty snowballs. So once someone sees that lying can lead to rewards, it becomes easier to do it again and again. The lies get bigger, the stakes get higher, and before they know it, dishonesty has become a habit. Um, this pattern is especially concerning in today's digital age. Social media is flooded with influencers and public figures crafting highly, highly created versions of their lives. When young people see individuals gaining fame and financial success through exaggerated or false narratives, it reinforces the idea that truthfulness is optional. Now, if lying about past struggles, experiences, or achievements seems to lead to admiration and opportunities, why wouldn't they do the same? But the long-term consequences can be severe. When when dishonesty is normalized at a young age, it can affect every aspect of a person's life, academic integrity, personal relationships, career opportunities, and legal standing. A teenager who justifies cheating on a test because everyone else does it might later justify falsifying a job application. Someone who learns to manipulate facts for personal gain might struggle to maintain authentic relationships built on trust. And let's we please don't let's not forget the emotional toll. When young people build their self-worth on a false image, they live in constant fear of being exposed. If they may feel pressure to keep up the facade, leading to anxiety, stress, and even identity crisis. Instead of being confident in who they truly are, they become trapped in a web of deception, struggling with self-doubt and insecurity. Okay, so what's the takeaway? Young people don't just listen to what we say; they watch what we do. If they see that honesty is valued and respected, they will be more likely to practice it in their own lives. But if they see that lying is tolerated or even rewarded, they will internalize that lesson, often with long-lasting consequences. As adults, we have a responsibility to model integrity, even when it's difficult. Being honest about past mistakes without exaggeration or deception, which sends a powerful message that the truth matters, that accountability is important, that real growth comes from facing the past, not rewriting it, and that is the lesson we should be passing down to the next generation. So now we move on to section 3, organisational impact. So lying about criminal history doesn't just affect individuals, it has a series of repercussions for organisations as well. Whether it's a non-profit, a corporation, a government agency, or even a small business, trust is one of the most valuable currencies an organisation has. Without trust, organisations struggle to maintain credibility, retain employees, attract customers, and secure partnerships. But but what happens when that trust is broken? What happens when an organisation unknowingly hires or promotes someone who has lied about their criminal past? Okay, so let's think about this one. An organisation brings in a new employee, completely unaware that they've misrepresented their background. They've basically lied. At first, things seem fine. The person appears qualified, they perform well, and they gain the trust of their colleagues. But then something happens. Maybe they commit fraud, engage in unethical behaviour, or create a toxic work environment. And when the truth comes to light, the fallout is it's immediate and severe. Stakeholders, employees, customers, and even the public start asking, how did this person get hired? Why weren't they properly vetted? What else is the organisation overlooking, or what else is the organisation hiding? At that point, it's not just about one dishonest individual. It's about the integrity of the entire organisation. And what about the legal and financial consequences? When an organisation hires someone under false pretenses, they expose themselves to significant legal risks. For example, one, negligent hiring lawsuits. If an employee with an undisclosed criminal history causes harm in the workplace, whether it's fraud, theft, violence, or harassment, the organisation could be held legally responsible for failing to conduct proper background checks. These lawsuits can lead to hefty fines, court settlements, and a damaged reputation. Two, regulatory violations. So many industries such as finance, healthcare, education, and law enforcement have strict regulations regarding employee backgrounds. If a company hires someone who lied about their past and it violates compliance laws, they could face audits, penalties, even the loss of operational licenses. Number three, financial losses. Beyond legal costs, the impact of hiring someone under false pretenses can be absolutely devastating. The organisation may have to allocate resources to investigate misconduct, conduct damage control, and in extreme cases, completely restructure leadership. This can result in loss of business contracts, investor pullouts, and declining stock value for corporations. A real world example of this happened with multiple high profile companies that unknowingly hired executives who falsified their credentials. Some lied about their educational background, work experience, or criminal past. When these fabrications were exposed, sometimes later, the organisations were left scrambling. Some faced lawsuits, others lost investor confidence, and in some cases, entire leadership teams had to step down. Next, we have reputation and public trust. In today's digital world, news spreads fast. If an organisation is found to have hired someone who lied about their past, it doesn't stay a private issue for long. Employees talk, customers leave reviews, journalists investigate, and before long, the organisation's reputation is on the line. Again, you have a loss of public trust. So consumers, clients, partners expect transparency and integrity. If an organisation appears careless or deceptive in its hiring practices, people lose confidence in its leadership. This can lead to declining customer loyalty, decreased funding for non-profit organisations, or damaged brand credibility. We then have the employee morale and culture. So trust isn't just external, it's also internal. So employees who discover that a co-worker or supervisor lied about their background may feel betrayed. It raises it raises concerns about fairness, favouritism, and the overall ethics of an organisation. This can lead to decreased morale, higher turnover rates, and difficulty in attracting top talent. One major corporation once faced backlash when it was revealed that a senior executive had falsified their resume. Although they had performed well in their role, the act of deception itself was enough to damage the company's reputation. They had to issue public apologies, review their hiring policies, and rebuild trust with their employees and stakeholders. So, why do people lie about their past? Why do individuals hide or misrepresent their criminal past when they're applying for jobs? Well, most of the times it boils down to fear, the fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being permanently shut out from opportunities. Many people worry that if they disclose their criminal history, they'll be automatically dismissed, no matter how much they've changed or how qualified they are. And this fear isn't unfounded. Some employers do still carry strong biases against hiring individuals with a criminal record, even if that person has demonstrated rehabilitation and growth. However, deception is not the solution. Now, here's a few or some alternatives. So, a culture of honesty and second chances rather than encouraging dishonesty. Organisations can foster a culture that balances accountability with opportunity. Some companies and non-profits have established second chance hiring programs. Again, us on the Verge, that's what we do. We believe in second chances, which allow individuals with criminal past to be upfront about their history while still being given a fair chance at employment. So these programs benefit both the individual and the organisation. So here's why it does benefit anyway. So one, encouraging honesty from the start. When individuals know that they can be truthful about their past and still be considered for a role, they are less likely to feel pressured into deception. Excuse me. Number two, reducing hiring risks. Employers who have clear guidelines on how to assess and support individuals with past convictions can make more informed hiring decisions. Number three, improving employees' loyalty. So people who are given a second chance often feel a stronger sense of commitment and gratitude towards their employer, leading to higher retention rates. Some of the world's most successful businesses, including large corporations like JP Morgan, Chase, CVS Health, and Slack, have adopted a fair chance hiring policies, actively seeking ways to integrate rehabilitated individuals back into the workplace without compromising trust and integrity. Section 4 is societal consequences. So finally, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture and look at how dishonesty about criminal history affects society as a whole. Excuse me. While individuals' lie may seem insignificant in isolation, when dishonesty becomes widespread, it has a ripple effect that undermines public trust. It distorts important conversations about justice, and it actually weakens the integrity of societal institutions. You have misinformation and public perception. So one of the most significant consequences of dishonesty about criminal history is the spread of misinformation. When individuals misrepresent their past, whether in the media, in books, in public speaking engagements, or even in policy making discussions, it actually distorts public's the public's understanding of crime, rehabilitation, and justice. Let me give you an example. So, consider a high profile figure who publicly shares their redemption story but omits key details or downplays the severity of their past actions. While their story may inspire many, it can also create a false narrative about what rehabilitation truly looks like. If they make it seem as though they overcame their past effortlessly without acknowledging the real challenges of integration, such as access to employment, education, or mental health support, society might develop unrealistic expectations for others in similar situations. And worse yet, if someone minimises the consequences of crime, they might inadvertently send the message that criminal behaviour carries no real impact. This this can skew public perception, leading people to underestimate the harm that certain offences cause to victims, families, and the communities. When misinformation spreads, it can even influence policy decisions, leading to laws that fail to address the real needs of those affected by crime, both victims and offenders seeking rehabilitation. We have the normalisation of dishonesty, which is another profound consequence in the erosion of ethical standards. When when society starts to tolerate or even celebrate dishonesty, especially when it's seen as a means to an end, it sets a dangerous precedent. So, one, trust in institution declines. If dishonesty about criminal history becomes common in areas like politics, business, and law enforcement, the public starts to lose faith in the way systems are meant to uphold justice and fairness. We've witnessed this happen with when politicians or public figures are caught lying about their past, leading to widespread disillusionment. Number two, skepticism and polarization increase. So when people feel that deception is everywhere, they become more skeptical of the information presented to them. This can deepen social divisions as different groups become more distrustful of one another and of the institutions meant to serve them. Number three, the impact on the justice system. If dishonesty about criminal history is normalised, it can weaken public confidence in the fairness of the justice system itself. People may begin to question whether rehabilitation programs are effective, whether background checks are reliable, or whether second chance policies are being implemented in good faith. Now, if one trust is once the trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. The normalization of dishonesty doesn't just impact individuals, it weakens the moral and ethical fabric of society as a whole. So, what about the impact on criminal justice resources? The justice system operates on data, transparency, and accurate reporting. When when people lie about their past criminal behaviour, whether by downplaying it, omitting key details, or falsifying records, it can impact how resources are allocated for rehabilitation, reintegration, and crime prevention, which can lead on to distorted crime statistics. So, law enforcement agencies, social researchers, and policymakers rely on accurate data to shape laws and community programs. If individuals misrepresent their past, whether by exaggerating or minimizing their experiences, this can lead to misguided policies that don't effectively address crime and rehabilitation. Misallocated funding. Programs designed to support reintegration, such as job training, housing assistance, or mental health services depend on accurate assessments or the challenges people face post incarceration. If if public figures or individuals distort the reality of these challenges, policymakers may direct resources inefficiently, failing to support those who really do need assistance. They also have undermining rehabilitation efforts. So many rehabilitation programs operate on the principle that people can change and reintegrate successfully. But when individuals lie about their past and are later exposed, it can reinforce public skepticism about these programs, making it harder to advocate for fairer sentencing laws, second chance hiring initiatives, or and even community-based support systems. So, guys, as always, we get to my final thoughts. So, what are my final thoughts on this? Um, Lying about one's criminal history has consequences that stretch far beyond the individual. Um, it erodes trust in personal relationships, shapes the beliefs of young people, compromises the integrity of organisations, and even distorts societal perceptions of crime and justice. But there's another side of this story, one that's rooted in accountability and integrity. Instead of deception, embracing honesty can build stronger relationships, foster real opportunities for redemption, and help create a more ethical society. For those young people and men with criminal past, transparency paired with genuine efforts to reform can open doors rather than close them. Many organisations and communities believe in second chances, but those opportunities must be based on truth, not deception. When individuals are upfront about their past, it allows employers, institutions, and communities to make informed decisions leading to trust instead of skepticism. At the same time, the responsibility doesn't fall solely on individuals. Organisations must also uphold trust and integrity. A single lie on a job application or within leadership can lead to legal battles, financial losses, public scandals, and internal distrust. The bottom line is clear: dishonesty doesn't just affect individuals, it puts entire organisations and communities at risk. But the solution isn't to just shut out those with criminal backgrounds. Instead, the focus should be on transparency, structured second chance opportunities, and policies that balance fairness with accountability. When society offers pathways for rehabilitation based on truth rather than allowing deception to take root, it creates a system that works for everyone, not just those who control the narrative. So, I'll leave you with this. What kind of society do we want to build? One where dishonesty is the norm, or one where truth is valued, even when it's difficult? The choice, as always, is in our hands. So, guys, if you found this discussion interesting, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share if you enjoyed it. It really helps bring more voices into these types of discussions. I'll see you on the next one. Till next time, take care.